we were talking about them having underwater bases everywhere. So, oh, well, there you go. And then like 3 weeks later, there was an article in the paper about a cattle mutilation. You know the cattle mutilations, right?
Yeah.
Right down in Pablo.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
3 weeks later. And then, so James and I are walking out here like kind of almost full dark. And I'm just joking with him about the aliens in the lake and stuff. And we look over right in front of Chief Cliff down on like the moraine line. You see this white light slowly going, slowly going, slowly going. You don't hear it. It's like if it was a plane or a helicopter, you would hear it.
Of course.
Because it's right there. There was, and it's night, it's quiet. There was no noise, no blinking lights. And James is like watching it, and it just, and then just, and James just goes, no, I just didn't see that. I refuse to believe you're trying to get me to believe that shit, and I'm not going there, man. I don't believe it. I think you're full of shit. But there was, I said, it happens all the time, James. I'll see weird lights all the time. You know, I'll be looking at the sky, and you'll see this light get brighter, 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 and then it's gone. All the time up here. It's like, yep, you know, it's like, looks like it's coming towards you or something, but no, it's actually not moving. It's just getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and then it's gone.
That's cool that you know that.
Yeah.
Especially James.
Oh yeah, James is like, he goes, no, you know, James. He's like, no, I'm not going there.
He thinks you had a friend with a flashlight.
Yeah. Running really fast.
Yeah.
About 100 feet in the air. Yeah, it came out kind of at right at the halfway mark. It started like over here, and it was just cruising along, bright light. And as soon as it got past Chief Cliff, it's kind of headed out that way. But you know, and the white light.
So I got the mountain.
They have a red and blue, white flashing light on all our hotels.
You just saw the
Single light.
That's cool.
But yeah.
I heard that
So
one.
you're happy with what you're thinking about and what you want to do with that film? With the alien thing?
I mean, I don't have a plan for a film, really.
Oh, all right.
I mean, we talk about ultimately later on having like some sort of revealing doc or something like that.
Right.
I'm not sure my family would be totally stoked on it, but I have the original tapes and they're interesting and I feel like doing it at some point. I don't have a drive to really get to it immediately just because there's so many other things going on, but for the most part, like I'm still sorting out what I believe. Whether it's like something to focus on and try to like get things to show up, or if it's like those are bad things, don't do that. So what they saw was a bright light coming up over the horizon, and it was incredibly bright. It came over the lake and everything got silent. And this is Mount Gretna, so you know it's just crickets and frogs all the time. Came over the hill, got silent, and they said it made a bad imitation noise. It sounded like a fake helicopter, but like an organic noise. It sounded like somebody trying to do an impersonation of a helicopter. They said it actually changed shape and like grew lights in the back and had like a wobbly thing on the top, and said it went from looking like a ball of light and turning into like a fake helicopter. So they also said that they could, you know, they could tell it was doing impersonations of things. If you weren't paying attention, it could look, but like they could tell as they were seeing it, it was not real as well. Like it was just an impersonation of a helicopter. And then they said it moved forward, changed shape again, and then like took off, making an air noise that sounded like a jet. It didn't really look like a jet. I come down with our whole family the next day. We're all waiting. I'm expecting for it to show up, and you can feel all of our like anticipation, basically. Like you can cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
And eventually, my aunt just kind of was like, "Okay, well, I'm not sure. You might be trying to pay attention to them too much. You might not be able to see them." Everybody starts walking back to the house. and I had a weird feeling to just kind of leave slower than everybody else and sort of straggle behind. And I did. The moment I said, it's not going to come. The moment I let go of my anticipation, I was still walking slowly and like kind of like looking back just for the sake of doing it.
Sure.
As soon as I did that, right when I got across the road and started headed up, I saw white light come over the hill. And I yelled to them. I said, "Hey guys, come back." I said, I think it's coming. And basically, same thing as the day before. Comes to the middle of the lake, but we start walking down, it gets silent, and it comes even closer. And I couldn't tell how big it was, but basically, like, it was a big white ball, and it could have been anywhere from like 50 to like 250 feet. It could have been like 2,000 feet. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, it's dark, you can't.
Yeah, you can't
relate it
gauge
to
the
anything.
size.
Yeah.
And then eventually what it did is it came over on top of us as like a ball. And what I saw, the ball kind of turned into like a triangle shape. And it looked like what an airplane would be, or that classic triangle shaped UFO. So to me it looked like a reflective it looked like an organic vehicle. It looked like something about it felt living. It didn't seem dead or like steel.
Like metal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the outside of it was reflective-y, like oil. Like it looked like I was staring up at like oil rippling from in as a triangle shape. But in the center there's a large white light. It's actually a Merkaba shape. There was a bright light, and then there was an inverted, going from that, there was an inverted 3-sided red triangles, and then like a Merkaba, reversed from that, opposite of that, in the opposite pattern, larger than that, there was white dots and triangles. So it was just like a big triangle-shaped ship with a triangle-shaped red circle, and there's dots, like a dot in the corner, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a line. And it was just, it was all total, it was a series of 7 lights in triangle shapes, and it just got silent and just came over us, and I just looked around, and I think my aunt was there, because it felt like pressure. I looked around, and all of a sudden, like it seemed like the color was a little lighter. It looked like I was kind of like in a fog or like a haze, and it just felt like heavy. It felt like air pressure was heavy. Felt kind of magnetic. But I did notice that like the color seemed to fade from bright to like just kind of muted, bluish looking. And it then kind of backed off from us, like after, like, and it was weird. I felt like I was kind of like in a vortex with my family.
I bet.
Because I remember looking around and like it was the silence, and then eventually it just moved. The pressure decreased, and then it moved to the center of the lake, and then it did that absurdly bad jet noise that sounded like an air pressure cannon. It just goes. That's how it left. And I'd seen that maybe 1 or 2 other times.
Whoa. Yeah. Whoosh. And since then?
Since then, I still...
Did you see stuff up on the mountain?
I'm too afraid. I know what I did to like will that to show up. And I can't tell if that's like a parasitic energy or if it's like I can talk to that thing and it shows up, and it's like a good guy. Because when I was a kid, I didn't have weird feelings about that. I was like super positive. Yeah, I don't really know what to think about it. And when you ask me about the UFO, it's kind of like I never had any weird bad feelings at the time when it happened. Even when I saw the UFOs in the air, and I saw that happening before I left and associating how weird and scary she was, I wasn't necessarily scared at the stuff like in the air. I wasn't really weird about it. So it's like, yeah, I know. I think if I just focus on it, it's just like putting out an antenna, and just it's just the same as like praying or anything like that. It seemed to show up when I wanted it to, and I feel like if I tried again, I could get things to show up. But it's like, do I want to?
You want to. That would be the question.
Yeah.
That would be my question.
Yeah.
I really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now I even think back on that moment we were by the lake, like, and everything froze and got quiet. I mean, eventually I went outside and I looked up. I went outside and I saw UFOs all over the place. They were like the modern versions of the older ones I saw before, but they looked like updated. Like they were like those fake looking plane ones, but they were blinking faster and at different weird pulses and beats I'd never seen before. And you know, I've been out there like all week trying to find UFOs just because she was into it too. And I've been looking at the air patterns and seeing like what the planes look like. And I came out and there were like 9, 10, 12 of these things in the air, like moving, flying around. They were changing. They just looked weird, had weird flickers. Anytime I've done Reiki or any of that work, anytime something isn't good or feels like it's bad, the color seems to fade away. If I'm in the presence of something that is just not good, the color seems to fade away and it seems like there's a fog that comes into the room. Like, and it starts going away. And if you think if it's bright, it's right. You know, like,
I get that.
So yeah, I don't know exactly.
Those are some experiences you had. Wow.
They're-
I mean, I had one.
Yeah.
And this was in the 60s when I was going to college,
Uh-huh.
at the end of the 60s. And I was over to E-Town, you know, so I'd drive to my brother's
Oh wow.
and hang out and, you know, have drinks and he would start all this alien stuff, you know, any scary story, because he knew I had to drive 45 minutes back. I was heading then to my parents' house for an overnight before I went back to school the next day. And he, you know, oh my gosh, he's the only guy I ever did Boilermakers with. So, you know, and he's like, just stay overnight, you know. No, I promise, Mom, we've got to drive back. So this is like 2 o'clock in the morning after having drinks and then drinking water and giving myself time so I could drive back. And at 2 in the morning on 322, it's super dark.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people traveling on 322 because the bars are on 422. So anyway, you know, all this stuff's in my head and it's like, I just want to go home and go to sleep. I don't want to think about this anymore. Damn you, JJ, damn you. So I get home and I feel like, oh God, I need a cigarette. So I'm going to go out onto my parents' back patio.
Yeah.
And on Rex Avenue there weren't a lot of lights, you know, big street lights. So it's really dark and it's really quiet, unusually quiet when I go out there to have this cigarette, noticeably.
Yeah.
Like, we're all crickets, you know, what's going on? They don't go to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So I thought, I think I need a glass of wine too. So I went and I got a glass of wine. So I'm sitting out there I was standing on the patio. And stars, just so many stars. Well, all of a sudden, 3 lights, the shape of a triangle. 3 of the stars I'm looking at, in the shape of a triangle, start moving across the sky like this together. And then they do a complete circle, so I can see the 3 lights circling. And I'm just standing there like, that's not a plane. You know, those were stars I was looking at. They're now moving, circling in a triangle. Then they stop. And at this point, I don't know that I didn't drop my wine at this point. And all 3 of them shoot off like lightning in 3 different directions.
Jesus.
And I took my wine and poured it out in the grass and put my cigarette. And I went in and covered myself and went to bed.
Were they like, was it like rotating like this, sideways?
Yeah. No, I could see the 3 lights.
Yeah.
And they went.
Oh.
like
Yeah.
this around.
Just like doing a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, a couple of times, and then stopped, and then
Yeah.
whoa!
Yeah. So yeah, were they? They were just a single light though, like a bulb
Each
light.
single light, yeah. Like a star.
Yeah.
Like a star.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's yeah.
You know, so I look out, you know, at stars any
The
given
two
night,
types,
it's like,
yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, and that's how
I haven't seen anything since until we saw those guys on the 4th of July
yeah,
doing that pattern.
yeah, yeah.
You saw that too.
Oh yeah, I was out there. We were like, what was that? That wasn't a firework. What was it? There's another one. What's it doing? Where's it going? Oh my God, there's another one. And Dan's like, they're here. It was obviously something completely other that we got to see. Yeah.
Just like when you saw those 3 stars.
Yeah.
And did they shoot? Did you say? You
In
just
3
said-
different directions, like lightning bolts.
So they weren't
Gone.
part of the same unit. They were 3.
Well, they were
things lined
3
up.
independent, and I thought, you know, because you're trying to make sense of it. Is it but a plane doesn't turn like that. You know, I'm watching the whole thing rotate, you know, several times, and then stop, and then gone in 3 different directions. I hid under my covers. I didn't close my blinds. I poured out my wine. Seriously, that's the first clue. And it was like, I got a story from my brother now.
For your kids.
Something that's real.
Family and friends and everyone on earth.
Oh my gosh. Too good.
Thank you guys for sharing.
Oh yeah, that was so cool to hear your story, Drew.
Yeah, yours too.
So cool.
That's actually not too far from. Both those sides are pretty near each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right on the Cornwall Road there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do Bill's another time.
Yeah, so I grew up with a mom who believed in the traditional Jesus Christ, Christian God, and also said there could be aliens.
Oh, absolutely both.
You see why I'm so messed up? And then you say angels aren't aliens to me this morning after admitting it 5 years ago? Make up your mind.
There are both. See, it's never just, it is infinite. It's infinite. All the layers, all the levels, all the aliens, all the angels, all of it is infinite information you will never come to know all about. But it's all there. And science and spirit, it's all there. It's all there.
I'm trying to know everything.
I know. So is Dan.